Hi, my name is Dr. Felicia, and I'm a licensed psychologist. And in today's video, I'm going to be covering a question that a lot of people who are survivors of psychological, emotional, or spiritual abuse ask themselves and also ask me in our work together. And that question is, why do I continue to hope that the abuser will change, right? And so it could be the abusive person, it could be the abusive environment, but basically they're asking why they continue to hope for a change despite being disappointed frequently. And so I'm going to explain that in this video. Part of the reason why this happens, and I also want to add too that not only do people ask me and ask themselves a question about why they are holding out hope, they also feel a lot of shame about it, right? And they feel like, on one hand, they know that this person or this environment is not healthy, but then they also continue to hold out hope and they feel ashamed that they're doing something that doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So in this video, I'm going to explain why that happened. So if you can identify with that, listen on and try and relate what I'm talking about to your own situation. And so when people are experiencing psychological abuse, spiritual abuse, emotional abuse, they're often doing their very best to survive. When you are in an abusive situation, you're not really focusing a lot on your own health. It's difficult to be objective and you're just doing what you need to do to survive. And I've noticed that for people who have been through such type of abuse as children, some of the patterns from childhood continue to adulthood. So let's say that you had gone through psychological abuse as a child, from people in your family of origin. If you think about that, and go back in time to your childhood, you will find that there was probably a time where inside you might have known this is how this person is, and you accepted that reality. But then it was also part of your way of surviving in that environment by believing that that person would change one day. Right. And so when that happens, when you're in this space of like, oh, maybe one day this person will change, even though they were horrible today, maybe tomorrow will be better, that is a form of survival. Think about it. If you are a child and you allow yourself to accept the belief that the person who is parenting you or someone in your family is not going to change, then that leaves you with very few options, right? Children are dependent on their parents for so many things: finances, emotional support. And so, if you think about it and you say, okay, this person's never going to change, then you're faced with the reality of what am I going to do next? And it can be you could be devastating, especially as a child, to accept and know that there probably is no hope for that person who is abusing you to change. And so as a survival mechanism, you continue to hold out hope and you say, maybe tomorrow things will be better, or maybe a year down the line, things will be better. Whatever it takes for you to feel comfortable in accepting that reality. I don't even want to use the word comfortable, because of being a survivor of abuse, and being in that position, that's never comfortable for anyone. But hoping that that person will change makes that situation tolerable. If especially being a child, children also don't have a complete understanding of how the world works. And so the believing that, oh, things could get better one day, or I need to give everybody a chance, allows, the child to, remain in that environment with some sort of hope without being devastated. It allows them to go on. It allows them to continue with their day-to-day tasks and just living, right? If somebody was confronted with the devastating fact that, hey, this person is not going to change, then that's going to put someone, could put someone on the edge. They could feel hopeless. They ask themselves, what's the point of continuing? So I say that so that you don't feel, you don't live in the shame of that. Because for some people, when they look back at things like that, they feel very ashamed. They'll say, how could I have been so stupid? And then also sometimes other people can reflect that same message, right? Well, you saw how this person was, how dumb of you to continue to believe they were going to change, right? And that's not helpful for anybody. Now, I know I talked about childhood, but this can continue into adulthood, right? If we think about, and even if it didn't happen in childhood, think about relationships that are hard for people to leave, right? If you're being, if you were a survivor of psychological, emotional, spiritual abuse, that's coming from somebody most likely that you care about deeply, that you form some sort of bond with, or that you hold in high esteem. And so it's the same thing. If you believe, hey, this person, if you allow yourself to accept the reality of this problem, this person is not going to change, then what that does is that it puts you in a position to make some changes that you probably are not ready for. And so that's why people who have been whether they've been in a relationship with somebody who's narcissistic, who shows narcissistic tendencies, or they're just a destructive and manipulative person, people who are in that relationship will find it very difficult to leave, and they will always hold out that hope that maybe this person will get better. If they just get this issue with them fixed, or if they just got this done, things will be better. Because if that person said, the person, the survivor of the abuse told themselves and allowed themselves to really take in the fact that, hey, this person may never change, they probably won't change, then they're going to have to make some very difficult decisions that they don't feel equipped for. We have to remember that being in an abusive situation takes a toll on the survivor in so many different ways. It takes a toll on them physically. They probably aren't getting enough sleep, they're, just different things, right? It's not only just sleep, it's the body is kind of in its constant fight or flight stage, and it just wears the body down. And of course, if you've been in this situation, you can relate, right? You can think about times when you have felt so worn down. Think about times where you felt even mentally that it was too hard to figure out what you were going to do. And so this is why it's not helpful to hear, oh, you should have known better, from other people, or even say that to yourself, because you have to appreciate the state of mind that you're in. If you're in survival mode, which is what happens when you're in an abusive situation, you aren't always thinking about everything clearly and objectively. And so that's very important to realize and remember. Also, by the way, if you have not subscribed to this channel, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, as well as like, comment, and share, so that this video, it will get out to other people that could benefit from it, like you are. So if you haven't if you haven't done so already, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe. So back to what I was saying, it's understandable to continue to have that hope for change, and beating yourself up about it, living in shame about it, or accepting messages from other people who say, well, you should have known better, what's wrong with you, that is not going to help. So if you have received that, if you are doing that to yourself, I would ask you to not do that anymore. And think about it this way. Think about it, and I want you to try and reframe it as, well, this is what I did at the moment or at that time so that I could survive, right? And then the next step that I want to challenge you with is reframing the belief that that person will change one day, and holding out that hope. Now, I'm not saying that you should become pessimistic and bitter, but what I am saying is that if you ever are in a situation like that again, obviously get the help that you need and stay safe, but also learn to think about things one day at a time. And the second thing is also remember that past behavior tends to predict future behavior. So, maybe one day this person can change, but are you willing to live with that uncertainty that maybe that person may or may not change? And if you can stay in that place, instead of trying to get certainty about what will happen in the future, then that could put you in a better place to make decisions that are right for you, right? It allows you to think about your safety, think about your well-being, right? It's not, no one in this world is capable of changing someone else. And so if someone is going to change, that has to be their choice and their decision. And you don't want to put your life on hold, waiting for someone to do something that is not in your control, right? And so I'm not saying that, again, you should be like bitter, pessimistic, saying that, hey, there's no way that this person can change. Sometimes people do change, but continuing to hold out that hope over time is not going to help you. It might be a survival mechanism that you resorted to earlier, but you want to change your goals from survival to now thriving and growth. Okay, so I hope that information helps you. If there's anything you take away from this video, don't beat yourself up about hoping for change, right? Because people do change. And I think it is a helpful thing in certain situations to hold that hope that somebody will change. But at the same time, I don't want you to put your life on hold for that, right? Holding out hope for anyone while neglecting your own needs and concerns is not safe for you. It's not helpful. And that is more thinking about survival. You want to move from that survival mindset to thriving and growth. So I would love to hear from you all in the comments. Have you dealt with some challenges or some, I don't know, maybe shame, guilt about holding out hope that somebody would change in the future that was an abusive person? And if so, how did you handle that? What are some things that you know now that you weren't aware of before? And do you have any tips that you could share with the people that watch this video? So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you want to book a free consultation with me, my website is skillsitecounseling.com. Click on the orange button, or you can also click on the link in the description box. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day that is filled with peace. Bye-bye.